It is the final hour of the Matt Murphy Show on this Friday edition. Thank you for being around with us. We appreciate each and every one of you. Give us a call if you so desire, if you want to make the last hour of the show pretty fun. Yesterday's show was crazy. Today's show has calmed down considerably, but I don't know which one I like better. I mean, how would you characterize – you were here for the full thing there, Jackson. You were probably listening for, I don't know, half of it.
20 minutes about.
How would you characterize yesterday's show?
Off the rails.
I mean, whack-a-doodle, like full moon level, right?
Yeah,
it
was insane.
It was pretty crazy. Today has calmed down considerably, but it is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, meaning anything on your mind is fair game. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. So we're told by Axios, this is an article by Alex Thompson. We are told that apparently AOC is considering running for either AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which, by the way, speaking of running, look, far be it from me to cast aspersions on anyone's physical appearance. But AOC, when she first gained national notoriety as a candidate in New York and then as a representative in the House for her district, most people who, those of you who disagreed, would often say, she's good looking, ... but. Or I can't stand her viewpoint on this, that, or the other. Or I can't stand listening to her. But there was always, at least always, often a caveat of, boy, she's good looking, though. I say all that to say, speaking of running, maybe she needs to, have you seen her? I am told that the congressional cafeteria is a wonderful place. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. I want very much in my life Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez not to run for U.S. Senate. I think she could win the U.S. Senate seat. I think there are enough crazy-ass liberals. Just watch. They're about to elect a socialist as the mayor of that state, or mayor of that city. Might as well be mayor of the state. Did you see where Kathy Hochul endorsed Mandami, and then I think she was hoping for a crossover endorsement, and he refused to endorse her? Because that's how socialists will do you, right? They'll stab you right in the back in front of your face. Anyway, if they can elect him, they can elect her to the United States Senate. And I'm told that she is strongly considering a Senate run or a presidential run. Jackson, would you please do some work today and look up how old Alexandria? She's probably 30. I mean, she's old enough to know, but I bet she's 34.
She's 35.
35 years of age. So obviously, she's within the zone. You have to be 25 years of age to run in the U.S. House of Representatives, 30 years of age to run as a senator, and 35 to run for president of the United States. Hey, what is the youngest person to serve as president of the United States of America? It's a trick question, Jackson. Go ahead and grab at it.
Taft.
William Howard?
Sure.
That's a I don't know that it's a good guess. I don't know that it's a good Taft was the largest man to ever be president of the United States of America, weighing in at a hefty 300-plus pounds. Rumors are that William Howard Taft had to request a new bathtub to be fitted into the White House because he got stuck in the one that was in there. I've heard that. And did you know, Jackson, while we're on the presidential trivia, that William Howard Taft is credited with starting the seventh inning stretch in baseball?
Why? Because he needed a stretch?
He attended a baseball game. I want to say it was in New York, and it was tradition, obviously, at the time. He was president of the United States, and it was tradition that when the president, you showed respect for the president. So when the president stood up to go anywhere, everyone stood up, and those seats, man, back in the day, they're not like these fancy, comfy seats you get at Nissan Stadium. These were, teeny little 17-inch jobs. And apparently Taft he was squeezed in there, and eventually he got too tired. He had to let his fat kind of jiggle, and so he stood up, and everybody else stood up, and it was the seventh inning. So hence this. I mean, that's the rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. No, Jackson, the youngest individual to ever serve as president of the United States of America was Theodore Roosevelt, a.k.a. Teddy, when he took over for William McKinley after William McKinley was shot. The youngest individual ever elected president of the United States was
JFK.
JFK. Congratulations. Way to go.
I had it pulled up.
Did you now?
Yeah.
Ross didn't tell you?
No,
I bet Ross knew.
he didn't.
No?
No.
AOC, still a hot mess, says 1221. A little more cushion for the push. No, man, don't. I got to pre-read these.
Wait, what did you just say?
I'm not going to say it. Okay, I will say it again. I didn't pre-read it at 1221 said AOC is still hot. More cushion for the pushing. And I say, we don't do that on this show, 1221. How dare you?
I don't understand it.
I'll explain it to you later, young man.
Do it now.
That would be, I'm not doing that.
Please.
It's when you're sitting on, if you're skinny, I'll explain it to you. When you're skinny and you sit in those hard seats in the House of Representatives for a length of time, starts wearing on the bones on your hiney, and so the cushion is, on your backside, makes for a more pleasurable seating environment. When you're pushing legislation in the House, that's what that means. When you're pushing for a particular bill, when you're advocating for particular legislation, it's more comfortable if you have more cushion for the pushing of the legislation. You follow? Anyway, AOC, let's just move on from that. She was pushing for a different type of thing today, as she was advocating against voting in honor of Charlie Kirk. There was a vote that was going on, and here's AOC apparently quite upset that anyone would advocate that Charlie Kirk was a good person who was a demonstration of American freedom of expression and freedom of speech. AOC on the floor of the House of Representatives earlier today.
The majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today.
What?
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake.
Okay, let's pause there. All of my history buffs in the listening audience, did the Civil Rights Act grant Black people the right to vote in the United States of America? The answer is no. It did not. There were a series of amendments after the United States Civil War. Now, the Civil Rights Act guaranteed that there would be fairness in voting practices in the United States of America. It prevented certain elements of voting that were considered to be inherently unfair, like poll taxes, for example, or literacy tests were another example. And to my knowledge, Charlie Kirk was never against those things. But no, the Civil Rights Act did not grant the right for Black people to vote.
Granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant. And accused...
by the way, the assailant in that case was a whack job leftist, it should be noted, not a right-wing extremist like so many liberals want you to believe.
Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges. It's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote.
Charlie, there was no greater friend of the state of Israel or the Jewish people than Charlie Kirk, but whatever.
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
So I'm a little surprised that the former bartender here is calling anybody else uneducated or ignorant. But you can disagree with Charlie Kirk till the cows come home, ma'am. You can fiercely disagree with his political positions, and you can cherry pick certain language of the hours and hours and hours and hours that we have of Charlie Kirk on tape, of the hours and hours of audio that Charlie Kirk left behind. If you would like to cherry pick a few sentences that Charlie Kirk provided in the context, without providing, obviously, the context in which those things were said, then that's all well and good. And I suppose, based on what you're trying to do, that's fair game. But for you to call Charlie Kirk uneducated on these issues, you show your ignorance, because it's just patently untrue. Charlie Kirk was prepared to engage and debate anyone at any time on virtually any subject, something that I can't say for you, ma'am. You shield yourself behind the power of your position and refuse to converse with anyone that might have a disagreeable or disagreeing opinion than yours.
Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
So there's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez misrepresenting, I don't know how many nasty things or how many incorrect things you can say in a minute of audio, but she certainly tried to fill it. 19 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7 WT, and Karen says AOC is an idiot. Sally writes in and says, I'm with Belle. AOC's so pretty if she would only just close that mouth of hers. 2565 says a former bartender does actually have a legitimate BS degree, but she specializes in BS, if you get my meaning. Well, no Bachelor of Science there, but, well, I mean, does she have a BS degree? I don't know. I don't know if she graduated from any college or whatnot. How do these not properly educated people get elected? Well, sadly, dumb people get to vote. We don't have a literacy test or citizenship test. I do believe that I've long said that that I think we should have basic citizenship examinations in order to vote. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, we never will. And the reason we never will is because, sadly, people used these types of things back in the 1950s and 1960s as a way to exclude people from the polls based on the color of their skin. About that, there is no doubt, okay? There were groups of people that used poll taxes and literacy tests and other types of testing in order to attempt to exclude black people from voting. It is true, and it was wrong. I don't want to exclude anyone from the polls based on the color of their skin or any other protected class. I would suggest that we need people who understand how government works voting. Is there anything wrong with that? I'd like to know that you have an understanding of, I don't know, the three branches of government and what they are and what they do. That you understand the concepts of the separation of powers between the federal, state, and local levels and why that is. That you understand the presidency versus the Congress versus the all of it. And if you don't have that base level of understanding, what are you voting for and why? Is it a personality contest for you? We need a stupid test in American politics today. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. Could AOC pass? I don't know. It's 21 after the hour on Super Talk. $63.63. I wish I could read your comment on the radio, and I cannot. I cannot even allude to it. I can't even pretend to try to sanitize it to the point where I could say it on the radio. But I understand. I understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. That's all I can say about that. 1261 says AOC more. No, I can't say that. Well, one person wants to know why does everybody keep saying that AOC? Why do you keep saying that AOC is beautiful? I didn't say. I've never thought that AOC was that good looking. I've said that a lot of people think she is good looking. Ross says yes. Jackson, iffy. Is that based on looks or Like, I mean, see, mine is Tanya because I mean, I know what she stands for. I just feel like her personality is just so gross, and her voice. Oh my goodness gracious, the voice.
She comes off kind of off-putting.
Can't handle it. And then 1960, I caught 1960 was the one saying, "Why do you keep calling AOC beautiful? She looks like a quarter horse." And that's a little harsh. I mean,
Wait. What did we say there?
A quarter horse.
What does that mean?
That's a type of horse
that you get for a quarter.
I don't know why quarter horses are called quarter horses. Maybe you could fact check us on that. Why is a quarter horse called a quarter horse, Jackson? Make yourself busy in the waning moments. Do something good this week, would you? And then I caught 1960. I said, wait a minute. Aren't you the guy that said the Natty Guard would never go to Memphis because
it's a breed of horse?
Hold on. Aren't you the guy that said that the Natty Guard would never go to Memphis because Bill Lee's a rhino? And he said, well, we're doing it, but he's still a rhino. Okay, that's fair. But we are doing it, and Bill Lee was working on it the entire time that everybody was like, Bill Lee's never going to do that because he's a rhino. Well, he's doing it. So there you have it. What type of horse there, Jackson?
It is a breed of horse, a versatile and muscular breed known for its incredible speed over a quarter mile.
There you go. And I'm getting a lot of that on the super text line, as you might expect. Yeah, they were bred to be fastest in a quarter mile. 7191 says it means it means she's horse faced. We know why they're calling her a horse, man.
When's the Kentucky Derby?
I don't know. In May.
Oh, we missed it.
April, May. I'm against horse racing. You know that. I mean, I wouldn't stop people from doing it. I just like to remind people that the only reason that we have horse racing is because of betting, because of gambling. If gambling did not exist, horse races would not exist. And I defy anyone to tell me that I'm wrong on that because I'm not. I know I'm not. And secondarily, I feel like we can gamble on other things like human beings, competing in a football game. And they at least have some say in whether or not they compete in the football game. I also am of the opinion that we can have horse racing in America. I'm a freedom-loving guy. I don't mind it. That's fine. Y'all get your jollies any way you want. But when they have to put one down, y'all should have to watch. What? What? Why am I getting that look from you?
Just very graphic.
Jeff, it's a graphic sport. Horses go down all the time. Jeff is in Indiana. Is that right, Jeff?
Well, yeah.
What's up, Jeff? How are you?
Hey, how about horse pulling contests? No, people don't usually bet on those, and those are pretty fun to watch.
Oh, everybody bets on those. Come on, man. Got to put. You talking about those the chariot, what do they call them? I know what you mean. I know what you're talking about. Jeff, hold on a second. I just looked at the clock, and I'm desperately trying to be better about this, going to breaks on time. And going to the news on time because Ken Weaver wants to be done with the news and he wants to tell you fare thee well and he wants to go on home. And so we're going to let him do that. And then we'll get to Jeff and your calls as well. 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk. In on the, I look at the not just the super text line, and I love all of you on the super text line, but I also look at the chat over on the Super Talk television from time to time, and I appreciate all of you as well. Matthew has written in, horses like to run, Matt. They're built for it. Why would you want to take that away from them? I'm not asking to take anything away from anybody. Horses do not set up races like come on, man. Horses don't put themselves in those stalls, and horses don't set up races like that. Horses like to run and frolic and play, sure. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm not taking anything away from anybody. What I'm saying is, if there were not gambling on horse racing, there would not be horse racing. That's what I'm saying. And that is the end of that story. Jeff is patiently waiting. Jeff, thank you for your patience.
Oh, no problem. The news has to come through.
I got it, man. Thank you. I appreciate you understanding that. I try to be better. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're doing, man. Yeah. But, you talk about how stupid AOC is. I'm not sure if she's as dumb as Hank Johnson, though. He's the one who thought that Guam was going to flip over if it got too many people on one side.
Yeah, Guam was going to tip.
Still serves in Congress. As dumb as these people are, How dumb do your constituents have to be to keep putting you in there knowing you're that stupid?
Well, sadly, a lot of them, it just is what it is, and a lot of times they're voting on them just because of the letter behind their name or the color of their skin. And I'm sad to say that, but it's true. But mostly it is about the letter behind their name. And the Democrats have conditioned broad swaths of America that and we're breaking through on this point, though, Jeff, but they have conditioned a lot of America that they're for the little guy, that Republicans are just for the rich, and that they're for the working man. But, one of the reasons that they hate Donald Trump so much, one of the reasons he's broken them so badly is because he's broken that concept. He has presented a more populist tone to the American people, and now it's a thing to call yourself a Walmart Republican, for example.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But just to kind of show you how they actually think, your buddy Dale Jackson had on his show today had a poll, I guess, that they did between the Democrats and Republicans, and they asked each side what they thought the other one thought, and then so the Republicans told them what they thought the Democrats thought, and the Democrats thought what the Republicans thought, and then they asked them, how do they see themselves? Well, when it was all said and done, the Republicans, as far as figuring out what the Democrats thought, was about 50%. They guessed about 50% of how they actually saw themselves. And on the other side, the Democrats thinking about how Republicans think was zero. So they have no clue how we think.
No, sadly, I invite it a lot on this show. And Jeff, thank you for the call. I do think we need to talk more to each other and not about each other. And I know some of you don't want to hear that. Some of you and I'm not even mad at you. I just recognize it. I feel like we're a big family. And I'm just kind of leading the parade, right? I'm not the parade. Y'all are the parade, but I guess I'm leading it to a certain degree from 3 until 7 o'clock. But I want to talk more to liberals. And not just in the spirit of Charlie Kirk. I've always felt this way. I'll talk to anyone about anything on this radio show as long as it is of interest to the people that gather here on a daily basis. And sometimes we hit on that interest part, and sometimes we don't. But we try to hit more often than not. And I understand that, when you have a large gathering like we have, and it's large. I don't take credit for this. This is a huge radio station with an incredible footprint. It's an incredible station, not just here in Tennessee, but nationwide. This station matters. And it mattered because of the people that came before me. I do my best to try to carry on the tradition in the shadow of the giants that came before me. Phil Valentine was a giant of a communicator, and we miss him every single day. That said, I want to talk more to liberals. I want to talk to the Heidi Campbells and the Gloria Johnsons. I want to talk to what's his name? I can see his face. The Justin Jones or Justin Pearson. I invite Freddie O'Connell. And I'm not here to talk down to them. I'm here to talk with them. I want to understand the way that they're thinking, and I want them to understand the way that you think and the way that I think. But they won't do it, folks. Increasingly, it is more and more. And by the way, toward that end, I'll go anywhere that people ask me and speak to them. Anywhere. In any setting, in any format, in any arena. So long as my safety is not compromised, I'll go anywhere you ask of me and speak to anybody about any subject of your choosing. I am comfortable in my beliefs. I think you're comfortable in your beliefs. And I know I'm not all of those things that they call me. And Charlie knew that he was not all of those things that they called him. He wasn't then, and he's not today. They call him those things because they cannot keep up with him in the arena of ideas, in the free exchange of ideas. But I do believe that differences of opinion and exchanging those differences of opinion and attempting to find where we have common ground and identifying where we don't, that's the basic fabric of this country. That's how we were started, man. It's not as if there was monolithic thought during the founding of this country. There was a very divergent variety of thoughts as to how this country should be formed and exactly what it should represent and how it should do so. From the beginning. From the beginning, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams couldn't agree on anything. Couldn't agree on anything. And yet they weren't friends for a long time, but they remained friends, and they were friends on their deathbed. Died on the same day. Well, that's right, July 4th, 1826, I believe it was. 50 years after the initial signing of the Declaration of Independence. Point is, I want to find out more about these people. I want to understand what makes them tick. But sadly, most of what they claim to believe in is based on emotion. Most of what they claim to believe in is based on a desire for control and or power. And even when they claim to truly believe what they believe, they can't defend it. It's difficult to defend because, sadly, today's Democrats are yesterday's socialists. And most of today's Republicans are yesterday's Democrats. Let's be honest. Republicans have shifted their position on so many physical issues that they resemble 1980s Democrats more than anything. But today's Democrats resemble the Socialist Party, which leaves us with very precious few conservatives anymore. I've always believed that the Libertarian Party could have filled that void, but sadly, they're too hung up on some societal issues that they think are of such importance to the American people. And I'm not suggesting that these aren't important issues. These are freedom-based issues, but it's why I don't belong to the Libertarian Party, because they get caught up in so much of it. Friends, we need more dialogue and less. I mean, I'm not even saying you shouldn't be angry. I started the conversation in the aftermath of the death of Charlie Kirk a week ago Wednesday by saying that I don't want to hear that the rhetoric needs to tone down. Sane, rational people understand how to disagree and even sometimes have a heated disagreement without allowing it to become something that becomes violent. The irrational people need to be taught that they need to control their emotions to the point that they become rational. Otherwise, get the hell out of the arena. You don't belong here. If you can't manage yourself, even in uncivilized debate, without it elevating to some level of political violence, without you name-calling and trying to literally and figuratively destroy the other people, then you don't belong in this arena. I will never shy away from having people who disagree with me on this radio show. Sadly, it's become, my experience, harder and harder to engage, harder and harder to get them to talk to you. They have siloed themselves in such a way. I'm not siloed whatsoever. I'm open. I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm able. And I invite them on the regular. And sadly, they say no. They say no because many of them deep down they know. It's not because they think I'm an ist, fascist, racist, sexist, whatever. It's not because of any of that. They can't defend their views when challenged. For years, in the years that I've been doing this radio show, I've been asked, why aren't there any liberal talk shows? And there are some liberal talk shows. They rarely take telephone calls, though. They rarely take telephone calls on liberal talk shows, boy, because they can't defend their point of view. One of the reasons that when I began this show in the year of our Lord 2000 was because I wanted to engage people. And I love debating people. I mean, I admit it. I love debating. I love exchanging ideas. I understand that I get hot under the collar sometimes. I don't want to. I do. But that's all a part of it, too. Well, 2805, you know where I'm at. If you think you can, let's go. Let's talk about something. I'm ready. You claim that you can. Well, I'm asking you to do so. In the meantime, there's this poll that I engaged in thinking of Charlie Kirk, and we've only got a few minutes left. I'll tell you what, I'll give you some of the results of the poll. If you go to @MattMurphy Show, you can vote on it. It's a Snap Murphy poll. Using Charlie Kirk's death in political ads is A, fair, B, out of bounds, C, gross and should be pulled. There are a couple of candidates in the 7th Congressional District naming Charlie Kirk by name in their political advertising, and my initial reaction was I thought it was out of bounds. I won't even say it's gross because I don't want anyone to think that I'm going after these political people. Most of the people in the 7th Congressional race I think are good people. I just think that they've been led down the wrong path. I don't think it's a good look. I don't think it's a good look to invoke his name before he's even been eulogized. We'll give you the results of that poll coming up in a moment and wrap it up. It's 9 until the top of the hour on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for listening. I appreciate each and every one of you. So, Jackson, well, I'll tell you what. I'll ask you this question after I give you the results of the poll thus far. I need to update the poll. The Murphy Snap poll that happened earlier. I want to do more of these during the show. Murphy Snap poll on @MattMurphy Show on the X Machine, @MattMurphy Show on the X Machine. Follow me when you're over there. I'm a solid follow. How have I lost? I lost 6 people during the show today. How did that happen?
My campaign is working.
Oh, apparently so. Snap Murphy poll using Charlie Kirk's death in political ads is A, fair, B, out of bounds, C, gross and should be pulled. 46.2% say it's gross and it should be pulled. 38% say out of bounds, and 15.8% say it's fair. So almost, let's say 84% of the audience say that it's out of bounds or it's gross and it should be pulled. So that's how the poll winds up. It's not wound down. I've got another 18 hours on it, so you can go over there and vote on it if you so desire on my show page on the X Machine @MattMurphy Show. We mentioned that the owner of Santa's Pub, Elmer Denzel Santa Irwin, has passed away at the age of 75, I believe he was. Santa's Pub will remain open in his honor. Jackson, knowing that you are a fairly good song master and an aficionado of the a cappella, and also it's my understanding that you know your way around a karaoke machine. If I pay for the drinks, and they only serve beer, but if I paid for the drinks and the Uber home, would you go with me to Santa's Pub and sing a couple of songs with me at some point?
Yeah, I'd do that.
Okay. We need to set that up. What you got going on this weekend, Jackson?
Nothing much. I'll be here Saturday and Sunday doing a little bit of work and hanging out.
Yeah? You convince anyone else to do the soccer game for you?
Did not.
That's unfortunate. Who you got in Oklahoma, Auburn?
Give me the Sooners.
Before you answer, and you screwed it up. Before you answer, understand, my wife listens to the show, and she makes the treats.
Go War Eagle.
Yeah, there you go. That's smart. All right, wish me luck, Jackson. I'm going up to spend my money being a degenerate gambler in Franklin, Kentucky for a couple of hours.
May you have nothing but 6s and 7s.
Isn't that nice? You know what I call 3 6s? If you get 3 6s, the devil's testicles. What? Why are you giving me that look? Hey, it's Mark Levin, or a reasonable facsimile thereof. We'll see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend, friends. Hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.